Hello, hope you're doing well today, and welcome to yet another dark ritual. Welcome to the cult of haunted hippie. I am the Antichrist. Hope all my lovely little children are doing well today, and if you're new here and you want to become one of my children, all you have to do is click subscribe. I was just joshing around. We're not doing anything like ritualistic or sacrificial today. That's just a fun little bit that me and my followers have, so hop on board. It's really fun. It freaks out the newcomers. Did it work on you? Anyway, so today, unfortunately, no sacrifice, but fortunately, we are talking Saw 11 predictions. Or would you rather I said Saw XI? I might bounce back and forth. I don't think I have many disclaimers besides the fact that I am making this on January 11th of 2024. So far, there have been no casting announcements. We don't know who's returning. We don't know anything plot-wise. All we know is the release date. Those crazy fools at Lionsgate, they're gonna be doing it to us again. Well, maybe. We'll see how well Saw 11 does, but if we go back to like the heyday of the Saw franchise and we're getting one every year, I'm gonna be busy making some Saw content, I guess. My other disclaimer is that I do not take myself seriously, so please don't do that. My cult is very, very chill. Everyone is very intelligent and fun to talk to, so don't muck up our vibe. I have only seen the Saw franchise in its entirety twice, with the exception of seeing the first movie probably 4 times, if I had to guess. It's one of my favorite horror franchises of all time, but I wouldn't consider myself a mega fan in the sense that I know everything about it. I know every detail about the plot. It's a very, very complicated franchise, and it's not linear at all. There's so much going on, but I feel like it's more fun to pick up new things every time you rewatch the franchise, rather than spending my days hunched over the Saw wiki trying to understand everything. I would rather be confused, personally. So these predictions are not coming from me doing any type of research. I also haven't done any sleuthing to find rumors of what's going on. These are all just my own predictions, and we're just here to have fun. I think those are my only disclaimers, so sit back with a drink, a snack, let's get into it. I have a lot of predictions about casting, so my very first one, of course, is that Tobin Bell will return. So put that one up on the bingo card in the first space, or if you want to, you can make your own version of the bingo card and mix things around if you feel like you have a better chance of achieving bingo that way. Do whatever your little horror-loving heart desires. Even though he's older, like, they just finally understood what really worked about the Saw franchise. They understood who was the most impactful presence on screen. Because I didn't even believe it that he only had like 6 minutes of screen time in, I think, Saw 6, maybe Saw 7. That was unbelievable to me. Like, his impact, are you serious? With Saw X, they finally understood that. And if we didn't live in such a bizarre and twisted world, he would have gotten an Oscar nomination for that role. I'm not even being dramatic. I'm being so deadly serious right now. That man is a powerhouse. Like, that was maybe the ultimate performance of his career. So I do think that Tobin Bell shall return. However, in the next space of the bingo card, I think that if he returns, he's going to have a smaller role again. He really did the damn thing with Saw X. I don't feel like he as an actor would want to spoil that good thing. I think that was kind of the performance of his lifetime, and he's 81. I don't think he's gonna feel the need to do that again. They really captured lightning in a bottle with Saw X, and Tobin Bell, if nobody else, Tobin Bell will definitely understand that. He has had a lot of say in what goes on with his character. He informs the character so much. He basically is Jigsaw, as displayed in the many interview clips that I shared during my Saw deep dive. Please go check that video out. It's hilarious. It's amazing. But yeah, I just don't see him having a main role again, and we'll get more into that a little bit later. My third prediction is that we might have a moment with Jill Tuck. I don't want to predict anything about her return or whatever, because I think that if she returns, it could even be in some sort of flashback. She had her moments between like Saw 4 through 7, right? She was around a lot. Her storyline concluded. We don't need a big moment with Jill. She does not need to be a main character at all again. But do I think that Lionsgate is above bringing her back for even 2 minutes for a fan service cameo? No. I think that it will inform some sort of lead up to Saw 3, perhaps. A lot about their relationship is still kind of a mystery to me, so I'd like to get to the bottom of that. I also don't think we got nearly enough Amanda and Jill moments throughout the franchise, so maybe we'd be so lucky. This next one is actually the only trap-related guess that I have besides like the victims that we might see. I really want to see some kind of spinal nerve nerve-related trap. So let's throw that on there. This is something that really interests me that I don't think we've seen before. Usually there's some sort of loss of a body part or the breaking of a bone, some sort of major sacrifice that needs to be made, etc. In Spiral, we did get the trap where she had to sever her spine or have death by hot wax on her face. That was a stupid trap. I think that we can expand upon that a bit. And also this one's a little bit personal because I have been through months of physical therapy for some nerve pain that I've had. I had some really bad carpal tunnel issues, and then I got a lower back injury that was causing all types of havoc on my body. So I want to see John Kramer take advantage of that. Did you know that severe lower back pain can cause diarrhea? Do you think that we'll see poop in Saw 11 for the first time? Not that I want that, I'm just genuinely asking. No, I don't think that they would turn Saw into Terrifier. Probably not. Anyways, this is one of my last really John-focused predictions. I want to see the lead up to John's position in Saw 3. Maybe there's some sort of flashback moment at the end of that movie where he's like crawling into the bed or something. I don't remember. But I think that even though in Saw X we got to see the moment where he and Amanda are really accepting his death, I still just want to see a little bit more that led right up to the moment where he accepted it. Because at the end of Saw X, obviously there was still a lot of work to do. So I think that there are definitely some gaps that we could have filled in. Now, speaking of Amanda, it's time that we start talking about her. Oh yes, it is. I do believe that Shawnee Smith will return, the people's princess of torture porn. I say that with so much love, by the way. I think Shawnee Smith is just so amazing. Again, check out my Saw deep dive. Her interview insights, they're delightful. For the longest time, I feel like she was such an unsung hero of the horror genre because it's always been about the final girls, but she sort of was that, but just in the most unconventional sense. And then of course she doesn't make it out of Saw 3, which I'll never not be mad about that. She is baby girl. I feel like after Saw X is when she's finally getting her flowers. I was not old enough to really experience the hype of the Saw franchise back in its heyday, so I'm not really saying this for certain. I just know that attitudes about horror have shifted so much from 20 years ago, and that is thanks largely in part to Jordan Peele's Get Out. We'll have that conversation another day, but things are different now, and I feel like attitudes are a little bit different, and it's not to say that she's finally being recognized, but maybe from a wider audience. This is the prediction that I'm the most sure about, and I know that it's very basic, but still. Shawnee Smith, she has to come back. Like, come on now. If I'm wrong about that, then I am definitely beating the witch allegations. This next one has more to do with sort of her character development. I want to see what happened to her between Saw 2 and Saw 3 that she lost it. I understand that they wanted Saw 3 to be as shocking as possible because even though they would leave little Easter eggs in case the movie did well and they could keep going, the original 3 movies feel like a true trilogy. It felt like that was supposed to be the end of the line because, you know, John Kramer dies, but I need to see where the switch was flipped. Later on down the line, there are more reveals about when Hoffman is brought in and he gives her a letter and whatever. So yeah, but I just think there's more layers to it for all of John's tests that she failed in Saw 3. I think there's a lot more to get into, especially because I don't think we've ever had a sole focus on her character and her addiction. Saw X was such a beautiful character study. That was what it was first, before anything else. It was a character study on John Kramer as a cancer patient, really focusing on the desperation of people in that situation. And I want to see something similar for Amanda. I would love to see a character study on her. I think it's what she deserves after carrying this franchise for 20 years. But on that note, for my next prediction, I think that the tone has the potential to be even more dramatic. A lot of the earlier Saw movies, like after we get past Saw 3, things start getting a lot more campy and just over the top and ridiculous. And I love that. I think it's really fun. I think that over the top tone definitely had its place back in the day. But with Saw X being such a profound drama, I think they should keep going with that in Saw 11. And I am a champion for goofiness in horror through and through, don't get me wrong, but they have something here and they should explore that. Oh, Oopsies. Okay, this is awkward because I already said this, but indeed the next square on here says commenting on her addiction. I did indeed already say that, so I apologize. I just really wanted to stress that and put that on the bingo card because of how impactful John's storyline was in Saw X. I needed to make sure that you knew I was serious about that. The next square is that I want to see more medical care commentary, but not in the basic way, not more cancer commentary about John. They made a perfect film with Saw 6. They don't need to do that again. They completely destructed the healthcare industry in America. That is the best of the franchise. I will not be taking any questions, comments, concerns about that. But I don't think that we've seen enough, or at least not enough fleshed out about, like I said again, addiction. I think we need to see a little bit more of Amanda's story. I want her character to be fleshed out so badly. Can you tell? Maybe I should switch it on the card to be more rehab commentary. I think pretty much everyone in the world has a loved one or knows someone really close to them that deals with addiction issues. I also think that everyone in the world has their own vices. Saw has always had such a humanitarian basis, no matter what its reputation has been, and they could really lean into that. Like, they need to keep making these more serious films. I think it's okay to accept that this franchise that was once so goofy is being elevated like this because it proves that there is still so much life left in it. Now for our third row of the bingo card, I do think that Hoffman will return. With that stinger, are you kidding me? Of course he's coming back. As much as I love that we got a focus on John and Amanda in Saw X, I think it would be super fun if we got a focus on John's relationship with Hoffman, because rarely do we ever see any of that. We see sort of like their first confrontation, and that's a great scene. I think that's in Saw 5, which is one of the most underrated of the franchise. I know that everyone hates it, but I love that movie. It's at least mid-tier, if not sort of edging on top tier of like my ranking of the franchise. It's amazing to me that so many people don't like it because it's such a good cat and mouse movie too, regardless of if it's even a Saw movie. But anyway. Although on my actual bingo card down here, I did say that Hoffman is more centric. So I guess that I have two sort of trains of thought for where the next Saw movie could go. Either there is a focus on Amanda or there is a focus on Hoffman. And since Hoffman was in The Stinger and Costas Mandylor seems super excited about returning, I could easily see it going either way. One thing that I would like to see if they both return though is more of an explanation about why Hoffman decides to turn on Amanda. Because I think it's in Saw 6 where we get sort of like a surface level explanation about both of them just trying to vie for John's affection. And so in doing that and trying to get his attention and affection, Hoffman starts to throw Amanda under the bus. I think it has to be deeper than that. I think there has to be more lore between those two. And I will tell you my prediction for what the lore might be right after I give you this free space, baby. I usually don't give free spaces on my bingo cards because I like to come up with the full 25 predictions, right? But this time I am actually seriously trying to achieve a bingo. So am I cheating just a little bit? I mean, no, because that's how bingo is played. So let's now get into one of my juiciest predictions. And my juiciest prediction is that at one point in time, Hoffman and Amanda were lovers. That's right. Is this based on that one interview clip that I shared from that one convention where Costas Mandylor is saying that one of his dreams in the Saw franchise is to kiss Shawnee Smith? Oh yes it is! There are two things that he wanted. The other was to get revenge on Dr. Gordon. But I don't think that'll happen in Saw 11. I don't think that we will catch up back to the present until Tobin Bell is no longer really involved with the franchise. I think by the time we get back to the present day, Tobin Bell will probably have retired from acting and it will be more of a spin-off, maybe, between Dr. Gordon and Hoffman. I think that Dr. Gordon will be in The Stinger. Yes, in the next space after that, I am gonna say that Dr. Gordon does not return, but do I see them pulling something similar that they did with Hoffman? Absolutely. Because if Saw 11 goes well, of course we're gonna get Saw 12. This is not one of those situations where it's like, alright, after Saw 11, that is going to be the end of the franchise, the end of this timeline. That's not how this franchise works, baby. There they're gonna want to get our butts in those seats again. So I don't think that we're gonna get Dr. Gordon in Saw 11. I think that that will be a Saw 12 storyline. Not that there's really that much of a plan going forward as far as Saw 11 and Saw 12. I do not think there's a grand master plan, because for one thing, the same writers from Saw 10 are not returning for Saw 11, which is troublesome. This is an honorary prediction. I'm not putting it on the bingo card, but I do think that Saw 11 has the potential to get a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the franchise might go back to its roots in that respect, but anyway, yeah, while I don't think that Dr. Gordon is gonna have anything to do with the storyline of Saw 11, I think they might shell out to put him in the stinger. Because what has Cary Elwes been doing recently? His most major recent role was in Mission Impossible, one of the biggest blockbusters of the entire year. He's moved away from the Saw realm, but he has returned in the past. I just think it might be a little bit too soon right now. I don't know if they're willing to shell out for him this time. I think that that'll be a gamble they take for Saw 12. Because of that though, because they don't have Dr. Gordon, who is the most grounded of Jigsaw's apprentices, I think we might see a moment where John is acting like a mother to two annoying children. The annoying children being Hoffman and Amanda. And like I said earlier, maybe they ended up being lovers. Maybe Amanda developed feelings and Hoffman can't really hack it. And maybe that was the secret retcon reasoning why he threw her under the bus. Because he fell in love with someone else. And I'm getting way off the rails here. I just really want to see a scene between the three of them, and I want it to be longer than 5 minutes. I want it to be very dialogue heavy, and I want it to be hilarious. Because what's better than a dramatic horror movie? A dramatic horror movie that has moments of levity and make you laugh, so that you're kind of on a roller coaster ride. Let's also get the rest of my cameo predictions out of the way. I think that Allison Carey could potentially make a cameo. I thought that she was killed off way too soon in this franchise. I did not think that her death was justified, especially because, like I said, I want to see more of the lead up to Saw 3. I want to see more of Amanda's transformation. I want more of her lore and that arc filled in. And some of that definitely involves Allison Carey, because she was a very targeted individual by Amanda. That was not just John's doing and John sending Amanda out to do that. She had a personal issue with her. I think there's a lot of rich subtext there that we could probably get into. Someone that I don't think would appear is probably Eric Matthews. I don't think that he's gonna make a cameo. He was in the first 4 movies, right? And he had just an incredible, unceremonious death there. I think that he's really done his part for the Saw franchise. He's not a character that I'd be itching to see return. I feel satisfied with how much we saw of him. I even would have said that he overstayed his welcome had he survived Saw 4, but he went out in a good way. Now, this next one might make some people a little bit mad, but after I say it, I'm just gonna ask that you walk with me. Logan Nelson is in the stinger. I know, nobody wants to talk about Jigsaw, nobody wants to go back to that, and I don't even think it's a real likely prediction. But honestly, in terms of Jigsaw's apprentices, I think that he's a little bit underrated. I like him as a character, and as the filmmakers of Jigsaw have said, he's the only other actor that has been as serious about his role as Tobin Bell. And I completely believe that. I think he's so good in the role. I really like him as a character. It just sadly does not work, and it's so ridiculous because you cannot have another surprise apprentice in the 8th movie of a franchise. Like, no! That's why he doesn't work, and that's why nobody likes him, but he's not an unlikable character. Like, I think people just can't really separate that, though. The reason why I think they would do that is not even necessarily to bring him back, but honestly just to get people talking. Like, I think that it could be potentially a form of outrage marketing. Again, like I said, one of the less likely predictions for sure, because I really think that everyone just collectively wants to move on from Jigsaw, but it wouldn't be a bad idea, honestly. I think it would really get the people talking, because it's not just about movies, it's about the fact that every franchise has been turned into a TV show in the last 3 years. So what's stopping Lionsgate from eventually making a Saw television series that follows each of the apprentices of Jigsaw, or each of the victims of Jigsaw? You know what I mean? The Saw universe just has so much going on, but I know that nobody likes that prediction, prediction. I know you're not a fan, so let's move on. My last row exclusively deals with Celia. So there will not be any up and down bingo wins if she doesn't return for this movie, unfortunately. But yes, simply for the first column, I have the return of Celia. They left her alive in Saw X for a reason. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm editing and I'm so sorry. I just keep calling her Celia. I don't know why I thought that was her name, but her name is Cecilia Peterson, so my bad. Again, like I said, it's not that they had a plan, but you know they wanted the option. She is the first of his victims to truly rival him, to truly be his equal. I have said this, I've talked about their relationship, especially in my review of Saw X, so definitely check that out. I also featured an interview clip of hers as well. There's just so much to play with. Imagine her retaliation. Imagine her making him play his own game. I'm getting ahead of myself, I really am. Because in my next square, I said, we meet Celia's father. They really left a lot of room for this whole father storyline, this mysterious father of Celia, the original instigation for him seeking out this treatment. There's just no way that if that's really her father, that he's not in on her schemes somehow. Even though in the ending, of course, she's saying whatever to stay alive, she's like, trust me, John, my father is real, he can really help you. And it's like, do you think we believe that? Do you think we're dumb? And do you think that John Kramer is dumb? That was crazy. I want to meet Celia's father. I really did. There is more there. Because also, how did Celia end up so fucked up? Why is she the way that she is? There is so much to explore with that. I really hope that we meet Celia's father. And along with that, I believe that there will be some sort of Celia father revenge storyline. I think because they left Celia alive, John will have some unfinished business there. I think the revenge could go either way. I think that's why it's a little bit ambiguous. I think on the one hand, John could figure out that her father has something to do with all of this, and so he goes after him. Or Celia's father finds out about John, so Celia's father then wants to put John into his own game. I really think it could go either way, and I think that both options are equally as exciting. But because John Kramer is our main trap man, I do think it is more likely that he would be carrying the revenge out, because he's the guy that puts the people in the traps, come on. So this one is a little bit more intricate, but I do think that rather than having another group trap, because they just did that with Saw X, I think it'll be a little bit more individual. And I think that Saw 11 may be a traveling film, where they go from location to location, putting victims in traps, leading up to Celia's father. I know that was kind of a loaded one. I don't know how I'm gonna fit that in the square, but hopefully I pulled it off. Because in Saw X, we went to Mexico, right? Celia's mysterious father was out in Sweden, right? He was out in Europe. So imagine that John Kramer and Amanda and Hoffman show up in Italy, and then they work their way up the boot. They go up through Switzerland, they go up through Germany, and they have all these victims along the way until they reach Sweden, and then they eventually get to Celia's father, where of course Celia would also be involved in that showdown. That was the only other trap-related thing that I could think of, because I do not have the twisted minds of the Saw creators. I really wanted to make some trap predictions, I really did. I'm sure you wanted to hear some, but my mind is unfortunately just not that twisted. The best that I could do was just draw from my real life, current lived experiences and be like, oh, have they really done anything with spinal torture? So I'm sorry about that, but there you have a little prediction for the locations of the traps. That leaves us with just one space left on this bingo card. And I believe that Celia and her father are going to meet their maker, which is probably my dad, because those people are going to hell. And if not her father, if her father is not involved in this movie, then at least Celia. Like, come on. She's too good of a character not to bring back. It was too open-ended. I'd be so pissed if she doesn't come back. Can you tell? I dedicated an entire row to her. There you have it. There is my entire bingo card. Of course, I want to hear your predictions too, so if you swap out some of your own for some of the ones that I have, let me know. These are some of my favorite videos to make because you guys have the best predictions, and then I feel like a dummy because I'm like, how did I not think of that? So please share your predictions down below, especially because I know that a lot of you, if you're big Saw fans, you probably know a lot more about the franchise than I do, so I'm excited to see some informed predictions as well. Or get super stupid with it, go crazy. I want to see your dumb dumbest and worst predictions too. Like I said, this is a very interactive cult, so don't be shy. And if you haven't clicked subscribe to join us yet, then what are you doing? Also on that note, there are several different groups within our cult. We also have my second channel where I vlog my spooky outings and where I talk about physical media all the time. I'm constantly doing hauls and anti-hauls, so go check that out. I also have a Patreon. Those are the names that you see scrolling on screen right now. All credit to them for keeping this channel afloat. They also get a weekly bonus video. So it's definitely worth signing up over there for the bonus content and also to just be in a more intimate little group of our cult. I'm also getting super close to production on my next short horror film, so if you'd like to donate that, the link is down below. There is also a link to my last short horror film titled Somnum. You can watch that and get a taste of what we can do. But more than anything really, I just hope that you enjoyed this video and that I catch you in the next one. Bye!